Now, I don't really know how to properly structure this video. I think my best videos come from the heart when I'm not trying to play anything. Improvise a shithead of everything. And this video is obviously towards Camelworks, who was a Skyrim YouTuber for a long time, and a fellow Australian. It's, I thought a simple post would just do it, but I've been thinking about it the last day or two. I've known for a little bit, because I'm an Australian, and the Australians, they posted it when the world was asleep. And I found out yesterday morning when I woke up that Camelworks had passed. And it's really sad. I don't know how the hell to structure this video. I really don't. I had some tears in my eyes going to the gym this morning. Like, I wasn't full on crying, but my eyes were getting a bit watery of just how sad it is. This fella right here, he was an Australian, and the first person I think I found out were other Australian YouTubers like Fudge Muppet, who are very much similar to what Camelworks was. And they were, all three of them were Aussies, and they did lore videos, and they would just spend hours upon hours making these videos to kind of delve into the lore and the mysteries of the Elder Scrolls. It wasn't necessarily Skyrim, it was pretty much anything and everything when it came to the Elder Scrolls. A great love for the Elder Scrolls that I also have. I was 17 when this game came out. I think I just literally finished school. And I've been playing Skyrim ever since. I'm now 32 years of age. And, well, these guys started the YouTube journey a lot longer before me, but I've actually found out from Lone Vault Wanderer, who is more of a Fallout YouTuber, but again, Australia is a small place when it comes to the world, when it comes to sharing content with everyone else. Now you see, we live here. I think Camel lived in Sydney, which is a bit more down here, but I live in this hot part of Australia, right? And for the best way that us Aussies can really interact with the world is through the internet, right? Through either our screens at home on TVs or our phones or our laptops, because we are a westernised country, but as you can see, we're in the eastern part of the world, right? And travel for us is quite expensive. Because, well, you see, if we wish to travel, we have to normally do a couple layovers, so around here, and then we either fly, that was shocking, we have to fly over here to like the UK area, right? So that's what I did a couple of years ago when I flew to the UK. It took me 36 hours to get from Australia to the UK, from flying and stopovers and stuff, and a lot of money. I mean, if you live in the States, you can just fly over to the UK, it takes you 5 hours. Normally you'd fly east if you're from Australia to America, if you wanted to land on the west coast of America, but even so, it's a long time to travel and a lot of money, right? So the best way that us Australians can really interact with the world is through the internet. And there was not many of us Australian YouTubers. I don't consider myself a YouTuber, I really don't. I just see myself as a dude that likes to share stories on YouTube for my story sort of stuff. And it's the same thing for Camel, it's the same thing for Fudge Muppet and Lone Wanderer. It's their outlet to the world, to do the things they love and share it with others. And it comes down to the passion of our hearts, but also for the people we do it for, those that really enjoy it. For me personally, I do this sort of stuff for people's reactions, to see, for those that love a good story, for those who are inspired by my characters to take a bit of themselves and make their own characters better. Or if someone just wants to sit down, crack a beer, have dinner while they're watching my stuff, and have a better day. It could be having a shit day, it could be having a shit week, it could be having a shit month or a shit year, and my videos pop up and it puts a smile on their face, and it's something to sit down and watch. And that means the world to me and to all of us that do this sort of stuff, that we can bring some sort of happiness to people that aren't having the greatest time. Now, old Fudge Muppet, I will admit that I haven't watched many of his videos since I feel kind of guilty for it. A lot of these videos that he's done are either, they could be brand new or they could be repeats of the past. And his channel, I think, got hacked or locked out of, and he had like he almost had 1 million subscribers until he got locked out of it, and he had to start brand new. And within a year, I think he'd cracked 94k. And the first thing you think of is, did he hurt himself? I don't think that was the case, because comments going around saying that he suffered a heart attack a couple months ago. And when you have a heart attack, it really rattles your body. It takes quite a few years of your life, and depending on how bad it is, it could either take a few years of your life or a majority of the years of your life. And it seems like that's happened to Camelworks. Now, if you look at him, even from this picture, I don't know how old this one is, but he is obviously, he's a very young lad. And this was taken, I don't know, it could have been 10 months ago or so. And he looks rather physically fit and healthy. He's got good hair on him, and he looks like he's in his mid to late 20s. And if he's in his 30s, then fucking congratulations on that appearance. It's kind of hard to think about how he had a heart attack, but there are many different things that contribute to that, like underlying health issues that you're kind of born with. And I don't know, man. Maybe the stress of losing his entire channel, which is pretty much your soul when when you're a YouTuber that big. Put a lot of your love, a lot of your life into creating those sort of things, and it could have just really emotionally beat him around. Which, if you suffer too bad emotionally, it really suffers on your body. Your mind and your body are in tune. If your mind suffers and your heart suffers, and your body sort of follows. And honestly, dude, it really sucks, because, I unconsciously knew about this about a week and a half ago without properly knowing who it was. I actually unconsciously found out Rebel Eyes. Now, he's deleted a lot of his streams, a lot of his recent ones. He goes into Scublivion and he basically tests all the quests, and he was doing the Mages Guild. I think it was in Sorvngarde he was doing it, and he was quite physically off. He said he was sad because a close friend of his died. And at the time, none of us knew who it was, and I remember him saying that a close friend of his died and that he was heavily into the Elder Scrolls. He loved the Elder Scrolls. And he put two and two together, and it turns out to be Camelworks. This is a week and a half ago. Lone Vault Wanderer did say that he was cremated. So he's obviously been laid to rest, and it's been a bit of time since he passed away, which could have been a week and a half ago, for his funeral and his cremation and his celebration of life. And obviously, Rebel Eyes being the head of Scublivion, and him were friends. There's pictures of him. Rebel Eyes said that when he's going through a really tough time when his previous partner had passed away, that Camelworks was there for him, and they became fast mates. And I think they actually met, I could be wrong, at ESO's wedding. And ESO is another YouTuber that, he's from the UK, and like I said, it takes a long time to travel, a bit of money, and a bit of time to get to the UK from Australia. And he went over there to the UK for a mate's wedding, and he met Rebel Eyes there, who was also invited. And there's pictures of them, being good mates. And this is obviously why Rebel Eyes was hurting, because it wasn't just some personal friend that we all thought it was on the stream. He's like, we're all like, sorry about your mate dying. None of us knew that we all knew him, and it fucking sucks, dude, because we lost an Australian, and anyone that knows an Australian knows that we're a bit of the soul of the world. We're a bunch of cheeky pricks. We'll make fun of you, and that's because we like you. If we don't make fun of you, it's because we don't like you. Mates are CUNTs, and CUNTs are mates. That's the sort of way that we work. Our friendships are formed from bullying. We're quick as shit when it comes to our wit. I mean, you'll say something, we'll amplify it straight on. Like, you'll be wondering, did we rehearse that in the mirror a million times? It just, boom, trigger, attack, redirect, sort of, you try to make us sound like, if you try to say something disgusting, we'll amplify it. Or you say something, we've got to turn around for that instantly. It's just the way we work. We're a country built on, having a good laugh, loving our beers. We're very much like the Skyrim Nords. We live in the hot. We live in the goddamn arse into the eastern world in a big ass desert, and all our cities are on the coast, because the middle of it is just a big old Sauron's mountain. It's Mordor. Sometimes during the summer you'll see hobbits jump your fence on the way to the central Australia, try and throw a ring into it. So we're very much like the Nords. We'll bully each other for a good laugh, and we'll make a bit of fun of each other all the time. We'll love getting on the piss and drinking and having a good old laugh and talking mad shit. That's just the way we work, and anyone that's met us knows that. And unfortunately, a lot of the Skyrim community has lost that when it comes to Camelworks. We've lost a big founder, an Australian. You know, it's like the same thing with Steve Irwin when he died. It wasn't just Australia that lost a hero; it was the world. It lost a bit of his soul when old Steve died. And you know, when an Aussie dies, someone that you love, it's different because we're very different kinds of people in the world. And I feel that now with Elder Scrolls that we've lost a great. You know, it's not just we've lost a YouTuber; we've lost a great member of it. You know, an Australian, and it kind of sounds like I'm up in my, gloating my hole right here because I'm an Australian, but I kind of know what we're like. I've travelled a bit. I've been to other places, and I'm always excited to get back home and for someone to call me a CUNT, even if it's a foreigner. You know, they've come over and gone, say you're an English person, we'll call you a POM, or you're an American, we'll call you a Yank. Doesn't matter if you come from the south or the north. And I'm like, how you doing, POM? And he turns around and goes, well, what do you want, you Aussie CUNT? And we'll be like, oh, yes, best friends for life. It's kind of the way we are. And I regret, you know, not watching enough of his stuff. I really do. Or even subscribing. I'm not generally big on the subscribing front. I'm just not. Unless it makes me cry. But man, we've really lost an absolute beast. Now the ducks, they're annoying as shit, and I can't sit there while they're squealing, right? Or I'll end up killing them all and getting fines because the chickens dobbed on me. Alright, so I'm a character guy, right? I write stories for YouTube. I try and turn YouTube, Skyrim into a story that you'd read in a book or watch Game of Thrones about all the incest and that sort of stuff, right? That's kind of what I like doing. It's what drives me on YouTube, like how, you know, how Camelworks, his drive into YouTube was exploring the lore and, you know, unearthing stories that most of us would have never known about, you know. And I'm a character guy. I love making characters, right? I think we all love making characters, but I think I got a little bit too deep into it. And this mainly, this is doubtful this video would make it past the 75 people, let alone even make it to Bethesda's ear. But the thing that I really want to see is Camelworks being honoured in the next game. And I think I might have the perfect way to honour Camelworks in Elder Scrolls 6. Very much like how we have Eric the Slayer, from a real life person that passed away. A way to honour him, and, you know, at the end of the day, Camelworks is never going to be able to deep dive into the Elder Scrolls 6 lore because he's not with us anymore. He's now in the shores of Hall. So, hear me out. A sort of character design that I think would be a very beautiful honour to him as a content creator and a massive fan of Elder Scrolls in Elder Scrolls 6. Now, how would Bethesda be able to honour Camelworks with an in-game NPC like Eric the Slayer? I've had an idea, and my first idea is a Nord called Mackenzie, which is Camelworks' first name. Very much like Eric is the first name of the man he was created after. Now, I would love him to be a Nord because, like I said, us Australians are very much like the Nords. We're all about comradeship. We love our beer like they love their ale. They love getting around a fire and having a yarn with the other fellow Nords, and they love foreigners that embody what it means to be a Nord. I mean, Nords are generally racist. That happens every time I do a video. My God. But they really come to love the people from other countries, other provinces that embody the ways the Nords live their lives. And that's what I love about the Nords. It's not just, it's not just Skyrim for the Nords, but it's Skyrim for anybody with a Nordic heart. And that's kind of what I want to see with this. I want to see a Nord that lives in Hammerfell, because Hammerfell is very much like Australia. It's a hot shithole in the middle of the world, right? Oh my God, I forgot about that.
You're like me, huh? Don't fancy those clunky two-handed weapons.
Nah. Anyway, you know, that's kind of how I'd see it, as honouring him being an Australian by being a Nord. Us and the Nords of Skyrim have many of the same values. But this is a travelling NPC, like that bard you find in Skyrim. And with this, he would be an adventurer, an explorer, who would, you meet him on the roads and you could talk to him, and he might even talk to you for 5 minutes about lore of the Elder Scrolls. You know, where he's going, what place he's going to, you know, the discovery of the Dwemer. We might have him like talk your bloody ear off. Very much mimic one of his videos where he's telling you about the creation of the Nords or the creation of snow elves and the deep lore videos that he used to do where it feels like you're actually listening to him but in game. And obviously he's going to need a mount. And I guess you all definitely know what I'm about to say next. 110% that mount needs to be a camel. Yes, that's right. He's travelling around Hammerfell. The best mount you could find in Hammerfell would have to be a camel. So think about that. You're playing the Elder Scrolls 6. We're obviously going to have Skyrim Grandma as a follower. Hopefully she makes it to the Elder Scrolls 6 because, oh my god, she's an old lady and Bethesda's taken their sweet ass time making the Elder Scrolls 6. Whatever, but hopefully we're able to have an honorary character in the Elder Scrolls 6 called Mackenzie, who's a Nord, who's come from Skyrim, who's travelling around Hammerfell, maybe exploring the ancient secrets, and a bit of an archaeologist, very much like this character right here. Her name is Minerva, and she likes to go deep into dwarven ruins and ancient Nord ruins and discover the ancient secrets and bring them to life, to educate the world on what she does. So we could find a character like that. He could even be a companion, you know, like Eric is in the game, you can hire him as a mercenary, where, you know, we help him out with a certain Dwemer ruin. What the hell? Rightio. We help him out with the Dwemer ruin, and then he becomes our companion. You know, and he just talks to us at the campfires about all the stuff that he's heard. And it could be some of his greatest videos on YouTube, where it sounds like you're literally listening to him word for word, but instead of it being a human being in the real world talking about Elder Scrolls lore, it feels like a character actually talking about the history. You know, that'd be amazing. So that'd be my idea. A Nord named Mackenzie, who's travelling around Hammerfell on a camel, and, in fact, is an archaeologist or an explorer trying to unearth the secrets of the Elder Scrolls. You know, instead of it being a human being behind a computer screen, it's an in-game character trying to discover the histories long since forgotten. That's probably the best way I could definitely see Bethesda honouring him, because he had a lot to do with Bethesda, and of course the Elder Scrolls community, and it's obviously a loss to every last one of us. It really is. And especially for me, feeling like I didn't know the man personally at all, but losing an Australian on a platform like this, it's rare to have any of us around. It really is, and it's good to it's always good to see him, especially Fudge Muppet, Lone Wanderer, and of course Camelworks. And we've lost a great. Anyway, that was just my ideas and just what I really wanted to say for Camelworks, because yeah, it's really sad, man. It really is. I don't think there's anything else I really want to say apart from that we've lost a great, and it's going to be sad not to see him in Elder Scrolls 6 talking about the lore and undiscovering secrets and stuff like that. Other than that, let me know what you guys think of Camelworks. You know, what kind of memories did he bring to you? You know, were you having a bad day? Were you just not in the best of place and a video pops up and it just turns your day around? Or what kind of thing did you learn from his videos that really expanded upon your knowledge of the Elder Scrolls, either Skyrim or in general? You know, what's some of the things you really remember that, you know, thanks to him? Other than that, rest in peace, mate. And may Shaw keep you in his halls. Farewell, brother.